Thanks everyone for joining. As Jackson suggests, Adam Cousins working with AWS as a principal cloud consultant. So really what that means is my role here is I help customers sort of evolve their platform on AWS, either through modernization projects like this or any other specific targeted piece of work. I'll dive into some of our strategies in the presentation as well, and also play the role of understanding customer requirements at that pre-sale stage. So having discussions with customers and workshops to really get a good understanding of what we're trying to achieve. And as today's session, modernization, I'll go through a bit of a journey and some of the key aspects of that journey for this particular customer on how we went about modernizing their environment. So at AWS, we work with customers to modernize their environment, and that's following market-leading technologies. So we stay on top of things that are happening in the market, in the community, and ensuring that customers are adopting either these techniques or these tooling or these services to ensure that they're presenting their best products. We also align with the AWS best practices, and that is sort of aligning with the well-architected framework that AWS provides to us. For this client journey example, we're in the final stages of a project with this customer, and with this customer, we have got an established relationship. So we do have a managed service with this customer, and we have had that for some time. We help them build their first solution on the AWS cloud, and we work closely on improvements, cost optimizations through our managed service. As part of that service, we also offer architectural advice. So keeping tabs on things such as service or feature releases, design patterns, we bring all this information together to help drive these modernizations. And the key to a success of any project is really understanding the problems the organization is facing. So in this example, the way we explored the problem statements, we discovered two streams. So first is the business lens. So for this customer, the business and the product stakeholders, they wanted to go global. They want to service more customers across more regions as they continue to expand. And then as that customer adoption increases, we needed to develop a tiering model of their platform. So some of our customers have specific requirements for either data or infrastructure segregation. And then some of those customers don't have that requirement. So we need to align the infrastructure design with those tiers in mind. And that allows for the correct sort of cost budget and allocation to be performed, and then opens up that platform for customers of any size and any budget. So this customer and many others like this are going through this journey. They place a significant importance on continual compliance as well, both from being compliant against standards such as SOC or ISO 27001, and also to try and reduce that request from information from customers. We've seen most organizations receive large documents or spreadsheets from their customers to fill in things like security questionnaires or operational questionnaires. So that continual compliance really beats them to that punch. Generating periodical reports, demonstrating that compliant state is a great way to keep the customers informed and confident that their data and platform is secured. And finally, for this customer, they're a software as a service or a SaaS partner with AWS as well. So key to strengthening this partnership is completing what's known as an FTR, or a foundational technical review. And this review is performed by an AWS solution architect. And that solution architect assesses the environment across standards similar to the well-architected framework. And that's to validate and balance to ensure that the AWS best practices are being followed and demonstrated in this environment. And an assessment like this really helps unlock further opportunities for SaaS partners, and then obviously for their customer base as well. So the next stream is the technology stream, or the technology lens. So for this customer, the platform is very much driven through its technology and applications. So the technical team well understands the business problems and then align their problem statements with that in mind. So to ensure the customer experience is consistent across global deployments, it was important that their customers are interacting with a platform that's hosted in the closest geographical region. So using AWS region-specific deployments, this is how it can be achieved. And then to meet the requirements of data and infrastructure segregation, We use AWS accounts as the boundary to separate customer environments. So similar, I was describing a tiering model. We use that tiering model and align that with AWS account boundaries. And as the platform continues to expand into new regions and new customers, there's a strong focus on keeping that operational effort as low as possible. And this is achieved through various things such as infrastructure and deployment automation, and then also adopting further AWS Managed Services where possible. So to understand the requirements in more detail, a series of workshops were executed with the customers team. And we collaborate together to share our technical and non-technical information to those stakeholders to gain a better understanding of the problem statements. So throughout these workshops, we share our knowledge of the AWS platform, our experience with working with certain services and features, and then also techniques around automated deployments and interacting with those services in an automated fashion. And as an AWS Advanced partner, we also bring what you could consider our battle scars from the past 8+ years of working with AWS to help advise and guide the final outcome of modernization projects. And an outcome of this discovery phase is really a sort of a future state architecture and a design document. And that provides context for the build team. Some assumptions are made in that design document, but then they get further fleshed out in the build phase. So after the discovery and design phase, we move into the build phase. And key to the success of any project is really to get the foundations right. So the foundation phase of a modernization project really starts with what you could consider a landing zone. And just to give you a bit of an understanding what a landing zone really is, it's a concept which helps customers set up multi-account and secure AWS environments following AWS best practices. So we recommend and use the AWS Control Tower service to achieve that. And we use that across all modernization projects. Then on top of Control Tower, we deploy a set of customizations for that project. So based on the requirements, we have a series of sort of out-of-the-box customizations, and then we can further customize those solutions. Control Tower really heavily reduces the need to get started with a landing zone. So before Control Tower was available, standing up a landing zone was quite complex, time-consuming, a lot of development effort involved, and then requires that ongoing support and maintenance. So with Control Tower, AWS really takes care of that responsibility of the ongoing support and maintenance of that and feature enhancements as well. So Control Tower out of the box deploys an audit account for security services and auditing, and a log archive account for centralizing and securing activity logs such as CloudTrail. On top of the landing zone, we developed customizations of a network baseline. For this particular customer, we used VPCs and VPC peering in a hub and spoke style model, and then security baselines leveraging AWS Security Hub and CloudFormation stack sets. VPC peering was selected here to really keep the operational effort low, and Security Hub was selected to monitor against all AWS accounts in the footprint in the organization against common frameworks such as AWS best practices. As the number of accounts grows in this environment, there's a strong focus on providing that single layer of access control and remote administration. So using Azure AD was this customer's preferred federation provider. We've been able to use a single set of credentials for authentication to the AWS console or API, and also to the AWS client VPN service for remote administration. And then moving to the application modernization of the build, we migrated their PHP monolith application and one of their Yellowfin reporting platforms from an EC2 based solution to a container-based solution on AWS Fargate. And the primary driver for this was to really, again, reduce that operational effort, but also increase scalability and reliability of the application as well. And then some of the side benefits of going to a Docker-based platform or a container-based platform is really the ability to use Docker in local development environments. And that can closely match, as close as possible, a production environment. For the most part, it was really a drop-in replacement. 99% of the functionality of the application remained unchanged. The platform did receive some attention in regards to improvements. In this specific example was around their search capability. So we helped move the search capability using an Apache Solr-based solution to our AWS Managed Service of Elasticsearch, which is now known as the AWS OpenSearch solution. Again, this is trying to reduce that operational effort and then allow that platform to scale to meet the demands of the customers. Throughout all service creation, deployments, and automation, we heavily use the AWS CloudFormation service, and that's our preferred infrastructure as code tool. And on top of that infrastructure as code tool, we use an open source tool called Scepter, which was originally from CloudReach. And Scepter, what that really does is it drives the deployment and coordination. It effectively passes parameters and you can chain dependencies between stacks. It doesn't trying to mimic what CloudFormation is powerful at. It's more just a layer on top to help drive that operational effort. And with the application stack changes consuming more AWS managed services, the operational responsibilities are reduced, but not entirely removed. So for example, patching is still required, patching of the container images, which is built into the automated build process. Monitoring is still required, which we use the AWS CloudWatch service for. Disaster recovery and business continuity is still something to be considered. And in this example, we use the AWS backup service for cross-account into a DR account backup. Logging is still necessary, so we use CloudWatch logs for application and then S3 buckets centralized in that log archive account for things like load balancer and S3 access logs. And then for security, we touched on it earlier, but we use the Security Hub service and then integrate into all the other security services such as AWS Config, GuardDuty, Macie, IAM Access Analyzer, and AWS Detective to give you that centralized security review. So to ensure this customer focuses on their primary value add, such as say feature development or improving the customer experience, AWS take care of that operational effort of managing the AWS platform. Sort of much like how we recommend leveraging AWS managed services where possible to focus on sort of primary business objectives. Managing the AWS footprint is often not part of that objective, but just a necessary requirement. So AWS Managed Services allows the customers and their technical team to focus on adding that business value, where we take the responsibility of ensuring services are delivered to SLA. And then ongoing proactive reviews are performed by the AWS Managed team, aligning with that AWS well-architected framework. And this is to ensure that the costs are driven down, optimizations are had, and the operations, reliability, performance, and security of the environment is discussed on a regular basis. And throughout the managed contract, we also support our customers to drive continual evolution of their platform. So all organizations, they need to continue to evolve to remain the leader of their target markets and ahead of their competition. And AWS and our customers sort of collaborate monthly to assess the environment, review any new features or services released by AWS, and that can help drive those costs down or improvements to the platform. For this customer, some areas which we are already exploring as part of this project and also ongoing improvements, we're looking at adopting microservices such as the AWS Lambda, DynamoDB, and step functions to sort of give you an architecture of microservice approach. And this is really for, say, new feature development. So we're starting to consider breaking down that monolith for new feature development and adopting these microservice architectures. We're also looking at data analytics services, such as AWS Glue, AWS Athena, and data lakes with S3. And that's to really help better understand the customer needs. And also using Athena, AWS Athena, for providing the end users of the platform access to their own data so they can report on their familiar tools such as Power BI or whatever they've invested in to report based on data that's generated from this platform. And it's important to note that the modernization journey just doesn't start and end and finish and that's it. It is a continual process, and that does require constant assessment and evolution to provide the best possible solution for the end customers. That's all I've got. Thank you. Over.